Welcome back. This is John Locke, and today I'm talking about a recent post on the Google Webmaster blog called Evolving Nofollow: New Ways to Identify the Nature of Links. Now, I know that in the coming days and weeks and months, there's going to be a lot of SEOs pontificating about this, talking about how nofollow links have been used for SEO, talking about how they're going to be used in the future. I really just want to give you my own personal observations as a person who practices SEO, who makes all of my money off of getting clients to rank and getting organic search traffic for clients. So just my personal insights. Other people might tell you something different. These are things that I've observed, and I'm going to try and point out some truths here before you hear some other stuff that gets you twisted. Okay, so nofollow. In SEO, a nofollow is an attribute that you add to a hyperlink that tells Google either you don't want to pass PageRank, which is AKA the link juice, the link equity, the link voting power of a hyperlink from one page to another, or saying that you don't trust it. Now, in the past, Google has said that you should use nofollow if it's a sponsored link, an affiliate link, some kind of link where money changed hands to get that link. Also, comments, for the most part, in most modern CMSs like WordPress, those are already nofollowed by default. So that kind of link building doesn't pass any of the link equity, the link juice, the page rank from one page to another. So the beginning of this article here, they talk about how 15 years ago that was introduced into HTML as a way to fight comment spam, because at the time people were building comments. Comments were followed to links, meaning they passed PageRank and link juice and all that. And so that branched off to all the other search engines as well. Google used it to flag advertising or sponsored links. So since then, it says the web has evolved since nofollow was introduced in 2005, and it's time for nofollow to evolve as well. And they're announcing 2 new link attributes that provide webmasters with additional ways to identify to Google search the nature of particular links. And keep that in mind. Webmasters are identifying additional ways to Google about the nature of these particular links. So these, along with nofollow, are summarized below. Now I'm going to get into this. This is where a lot of people are going to get twisted. So rel sponsored. So instead of rel nofollow, you'd have rel sponsored. So use this to identify links on your site that were created as part of advertisements, sponsorships, or other compensation agreements. Like, guest posting where money changes hands. The only reason why this is being introduced, this sponsored link, is Google is not good at identifying paid links. All these people that think, like, don't pay for links, Google will catch you. Google knows when it's a paid link or a sponsored post. Google is not very good at it. The algorithm, the machine learning, whatever it is, it's not catching enough of them. So it wants you to rat on yourself. This tweet today from Grindstone SEO. Because the algorithms suck at determining if links are paid or naturally gained, they're hoping, likely based on the successful adoption by the SEO community of the disavow tool, that SEOs and webmasters will be dumb enough to give them this information for free. And hint, they will. Hint. That's kind of a play on something that we're going to talk about here. Why is Google announcing these things? They either push this stuff out to help their algorithms either rank better or learn better, according to Patty Mugan here. So I have a tendency to agree with this. Google is putting this one here because it wants you to basically rat yourself out if you have a guest post or if money's changing hands. Okay, so this other one, user-generated content, rel UGC. User-generated content is recommended for links with user-generated comments. So comments, forum posts, that could be reviews, I guess. Now, you don't have to do this, but I think what they're hoping for here is that the CMSs like WordPress or plugin or module creators for Drupal, WordPress, Joomla, whatever, they're hoping that these plugin authors and CMS contributors adopt this as a standard. Now, like I said before, comments are pretty much no followed. Reviews are pretty much no followed links. Any kind of social media links are no followed. But they're hoping that you put this in there. Software creators. Basically, this is for software creators. They want you to help them figure this out. Now, I don't think that Google has a hard time figuring out what comments are. And there's very few places where comments are actually still followed links and they pass PageRank. There are a few sites out there that I've seen, but not very many. Most of these are no followed. Okay, so this rel no follow, this is the one that's existed. Now, mind you, hyperlinks are followed by default. You have to add this in order to not pass PageRank. And I'm going to have some comments on this in just a second, but it says use this attribute for cases in where you want to link to a page but don't want to imply the type of endorsement, including passing along ranking credit to another page. So, I mean, if you're linking out to a page to me editorially, you're putting it in there, there's no reason to have a no follow inside the content itself from a blog or an article, unless it's either a situation like Wikipedia where pretty much anybody can add an edit, or if you're just basically saying like this is a paid link. So affiliate links should absolutely be no followed. But unless you're trying to do like some kind of page sculpting thing where you're trying to, keep all the link juice for your internal links, which doesn't work, by the way. There's no reason to no follow an editorial link. Okay, so goes on to say, when no follow was introduced, Google would not count any link marked this way as a signal to use within our search algorithms when it was first introduced. This has now changed. All the link attributes, sponsored, user-generated content, and no follow are treated as hints about which links to consider or exclude within search. And we'll use these hints along with other signals as a way to better understand how to appropriately analyze and use links within our system. Why not completely ignore such links, as had been the case with no follow? Now, they don't say like when. A lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to say that PageRank is not passed through no follow links, and no follow links have no use whatsoever. But I believe that what they're talking about here is when no follow was first introduced in 2005. Because I can tell you with a certainty that no follow links do make an impact on SEO. They absolutely do. And anybody that tells you otherwise doesn't know what they're talking about. Okay, so they go on to say, links contain valuable information that can help us improve search, such as how the words within links describe content that they point at. That's anchor text. The words within a hyperlink are called anchor text. Okay, and most people believe that has something to do with SEO as well, which it does. So looking at all the links we encounter can also help us better understand unnatural linking patterns. And I'm going to talk about this in just a second. But by shifting to a hint model, we no longer lose this important information, while still allowing site owners to indicate that some links shouldn't be given the weight of a first-party endorsement. We know these new attributes will generate questions, so here's a FAQ that we hope covers most of those. Now, before I get into the FAQ, I want to point some stuff out here. There's lots of case studies out there that prove that no-follow links have an effect. This article from SEMrush says that they did a ton of backlink research, and they looked at the #1 ranked sites in every niche category and industry. They all showed something very interesting about no-follow links. The #1 ranked web pages on Google have an average of about 20 to 40% no-follow links pointing at that page. Sometimes it's higher. 3 out of 10 links are usually no-follow links. Google fully expects there to be some no-follow links to your website. If you have 90% followed links that are all passing PageRank and link juice, Google's going to say that that's an unnatural link profile. So right off the bat, Google really does expect to see a mix of no-followed links in your link profile. Now that could be through comments, that could be through, social profiles, it could be, whatever it is. But it's going to expect that there's some no-follow links. Here's a tweet from somebody that used to work at Bing. And they say, historically at Bing, we always treated the no-follow link attribute as a hint, making our own decision on trusting or not trusting. Please continue using this hint and other link functions as sponsored and user-generated content as appropriate. So this person is saying basically Bing itself used no-follow links as a hint. Now, mind you, search engines say that they do not follow no-followed links, and they're unable to. The search crawler, Googlebot and Bingbot, historically do not go and find that page. So if you link to a page with a no-followed link, it doesn't mean that they go and index that page. But it doesn't mean that they don't consider it. That's what that no-follow means. It means that the search crawler, Googlebot and Bingbot, do not follow that link and go find that page and index that page. It does not mean that they do not consider the link. Now, it might not pass PageRank, but I can tell you that these links make a difference. Here's some tweets from Anthony Randall, who you should absolutely go follow on Twitter. But he says, he's retweeting some old posts that he made, old tweets. But he says, in general, Google doesn't follow no-follow links because, in general, no-follow links are forum links or signatures, blog comments, general directories, internal strategy, or author bios. An editorial no-follow link is still a link worth having. And it doesn't mean that in-content no-follow links are worthless. And Google has said that they're pretty good at ignoring links. So it's not like any given no-follow link would automatically become a link which passes any signals if rel no-follow were suddenly removed, or even if it had never been a no-follow link to begin with. And Google have also said that they sometimes crawl naked links, not hyperlinked links, but just plain links, to discover new sites, pages, and content, which they might have otherwise missed. And I can attest to this because I've seen them do this in my own Google Search Console, where there's hyperlinks, say like in code snippets, that I've put on my site, and they've tried to crawl it. I can attest to you that this happens. So there's no reason that they don't sometimes crawl those no-follow links. He also goes on to say, Anthony says, that I have multiple niche e-commerce clients who operate in tiny spaces where no-follow links make up probably half of all editorial opportunities, and they're pretty jazzed about what no-follow links have done for them. I can attest to you that my clients, some of the no-follow links that are available for you out there will absolutely have an effect on your rankings. You should never snub your nose at a no-follow link from a prominent site. This person, Tim Wagner, says, 4 or 5 years ago, we spent hours, days, months arguing with certain clients that no-follow links benefited not only search rankings, but also referral traffic, brand reach, and overall internet footprint. And we said that it looks super weird not to have no-follow links. This is what SEMrush said right here. You have to have those links. I can't seem to find this tweet today, but there was a person that said that they had one no-followed Wikipedia link, and just that one no-followed link made their client site boost up considerably. So no-follow links do have an impact, depending on where they come from. One last thing, I'll link this one up too, but this is from the Technics.com blog, and they said, One of the clients that they manage has seen amazing growth over the last year and a half, and the majority of links that they've gotten have been no follow. 99 total links, 88 are no follow. Only 11 are followed, meaning 89% of the links are no followed. They currently rank number 1 for their main keyword, 2 for an even more competitive keyword. 3 of their other targeted keywords are moving up. So I don't know what to tell you. There's going to be people that say that because Google says something here down later, or they say that no followed links were never used before. Now we're just using them as hints. They've always used them as hints. They've always used no follow links as hints. All right, let's get into these FAQs. Do I need to change my existing no follows? And it says no. If you use no follow now, so for sponsored content, ads, whether it's no matter what it is, affiliate links, if you use no follow as a way to block sponsored links or to signify that you don't vouch for a page that you link to, like an affiliate, that will continue to be supported. There's no need to change any no follow links that you already have. Okay? So they're making it clear this is a voluntary thing. If you want to label your sponsored links, which I would not, but if you want to, go ahead. And it says, can I use more than one rel value on a link? And it says, yes, you can. If you use UGC sponsored, that says that it's user-generated content and sponsored. So you can use no follow and UGC, no follow and sponsored if you want to do all that. That's fine. So they're hoping you opt into this. And it says, if I currently use no follow for ads or sponsored links, do I need to change those? It says no. You can keep using no follow as a method for flagging such links to avoid possible link scheme penalties. You don't need to change any existing markup. If you have systems that append this to new links, they can continue to do so. However, we recommend switching over to rel sponsored when it's convenient. So they're not saying that you're going to get a penalty for only using a no follow for sponsored links, because I don't think that everybody's going to switch over to this right away. That's a lot of work. So they don't expect that, but they're basically hoping that you will tell them where the paid links are so that they can try and figure it out. Google can't figure this out as easily as you think. That's what I'm trying to stress to you. They're wanting you to tell them where the paid links are so that their machine learning algorithm can figure it out later down the line. So do you still need to flag ad or sponsored links? Yes, if you want to avoid a possible link scheme manual action. Use rel sponsored or rel no follow to flag or rel no follow to flag these links. So you can use no follow. We prefer the use of sponsored, but either is fine and will be treated the same for this purpose. So ads or sponsored links. What happens if I use the wrong attribute on the link? There is no wrong attribute except in the case of sponsored links. Here's the thing though, guys. There's still going to be a lot of link selling and a lot of link buying and a lot of money changing hands. They're just hoping you tell them. They're hoping that you tell Google where the sponsored links are. And they're threatening you with this kind of like manual action. But honestly, I don't know that there's going to be a way that they can figure this out on their own. In some cases. So if you flag a user-generated content link or a non-ad link as sponsored, we'll see that hint. But the impact, if any at all, would be at most what we might not count the link as credit for another page. In this regard, it's no different than the status quo of many user-generated content and non-ad links already marked as no follow. So basically, this whole thing is just to figure out where the paid links are. This is not anything else to do with anything else. They already use no follow. as a hint. So anybody that says like now they're using it as a hint, they've always used it. All right, this is all just about this. Okay, should I bother? Why should I bother using any of these new attributes? It allows us to better process links for analysis of the web. That can include your own content if people who link to you make use of these attributes. Okay, so just saying helps them to classify what's going on better. Won't changing to a hint approach encourage link spam in comments and user-generated content? That already happens. It's already happened. It's been happening for a long time. Okay, many sites that allow third parties to contribute to content already deter link spam in a variety of ways, using moderation tools that can be integrated into many blogging platforms and human review. The link attributes of UGC and Nofollow, and most already use Nofollow, will continue to be a further deterrent. This is already in effect. This has already been for a long time. In most cases, the move to a hint model won't change the nature of how we treat such links. Won't change the nature of how we treat such links. We'll generally treat them as they did with Nofollow before and not consider them for ranking purposes. We'll still continue to carefully assess how to use links with search, just as we always have and we've had to do for situations where no attributions were provided. So user-generated content, they're still going to look at the content on the page, but basically the hyperlinks they're going to treat exactly the way that they did before. If they're Nofollow, just stay the same. Okay, when do these attributes and changes go into effect? All this stuff, all the link attributes sponsored, UGC, and Nofollow now work today as hints for us to incorporate for ranking purposes. But for crawling and indexing purposes, Nofollow will become a hint as of March 1st, 2020. All they're really doing here is admitting that they're already doing this. So those depending on Nofollow solely to block a page from being indexed. This also has to do with how they're implementing robots TXT right now with no index. So that's tied into this too. But you should use something else. Learn how to block URLs. So basically, as of March 1st, if you're using Nofollow to keep a page from being indexed, like you should use something else. That's basically what this paragraph is about. So they already use Nofollow links as a hint for ranking purposes, but focus in on what it's saying here for crawling and indexing purposes. So this will be a hint. They can still follow a link even if it's Nofollow. They can still index the page that you're linking to as of March 1st, 2020. This has nothing to do with ranking. Doesn't say for ranking purposes. It says for crawling and indexing purposes. So they can follow these Nofollow links, and they can index the page that you're linking to as of March 1st, 2020. That's what they're telling you. It has nothing to do with ranking, this paragraph. Okay, so that's that article. Hit me with thoughts if you have any. What do you think about this? Is Google trying to get you to admit where your paid links are? Is this going to affect how you implement followed or no followed links? Are you going to start using the sponsored attribute? Let me know in the comments below. My name's John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. I'm here every single day with videos on SEO. Thank you to all the new subscribers that come on this month. You got us past 300 subscribers. Woohoo! All right, that's it for now. Until next time, peace.